6 Lessons in Success from Yoda. Control your future, you do. Master Yoda is arguably the best mentor of all time. The dude lived to be 900 years old after all. He had 9 centuries to pick up valuable life lessons and think of cryptic ways to express them. It's definitely worth listening to what he has to say. Today, we'll be going over some of the wisdom Yoda passed down to Luke so that you can use it to accomplish your goals. Welcome back to Coach Stack, your secret weapon for improving yourself through business, investing, and personal growth. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you don't miss out on our next videos. Alright, let's get started. Number 1. Focus on where you are. In The Empire Strikes Back, Yoda gives Luke a warning. He says, "A Jedi must have the deepest commitment, the most serious mind. This one a long time have I watched. All his life has he looked away, to the future, to the horizon. Never his mind on where he was. What he was doing." This is a reminder that we could all do with from time to time. In life, it's sometimes hard to stop looking ahead to bigger and better things. Maybe you're working a minimum wage job and love to pass the time daydreaming about a future where you own a business. Maybe you're working towards a boring degree and find yourself thinking about life after graduation instead of studying. Imagining a better future is nice. It isn't real though, not unless you make it real. How do you do that, you ask? By focusing on where you are. If Luke had coasted through his lessons with Yoda on autopilot, imagining the downfall of the Empire, he would have been out of his depth when it came to actually defeating the Empire. Take it from Yoda, the tools for building the future you want are always found in the present. Number 2. Don't be afraid of the mud. Before the Order fell, Jedi Masters like Yoda led pretty comfortable lives on Coruscant. Sure, Jedi don't really have an expensive taste when it comes to clothes. Hand them a burlap sack and they'll be happy. But that Jedi temple looks more like a palace to me. When Luke finally meets Yoda, his living situation is about as different from a palace as it possibly could be. He's been living in the swamps of Dagobah, eating alien insects and sleeping in a muddy hut for years. Is Yoda happy living like this? Does he like wallowing in the mud? Does he like eating alien insects? Probably not. Yoda chose to live in exile on Dagobah because he knew it was where he needed to be. As a result, Luke was able to get the training he needed to take down the Empire and give us a satisfying conclusion to an amazing series of films. That's a great lesson in commitment for anyone looking to accomplish something with their own lives. Whatever it is you're trying to accomplish, you're guaranteed to encounter some mud. If you're lucky, you'll just have to wade through it. If you're less lucky, you might be living in it for a while. It might come in the form of long hours, months spent without a paycheck, failures, and uncertain moments. You should try your best to embrace it, just like Yoda. Because if you're afraid to get your hands dirty, your journey will be over before it begins. Number 3. Patience is key. Do you know how long Yoda had been living in his swamp by the time Luke found him? 20 years. He spent 2 decades waiting for someone, who he wasn't even sure existed, to show up. All that time he had nothing to look forward to except climbing into a damp bed after a long day of sitting around. With any luck, accomplishing your goals won't require a feat of patience quite that monumental. They'll definitely take at least a little patience though. A lot of times, a bit of patience is the difference between seeing your hard work get rewarded and admitting defeat. The list of successful entrepreneurs and beloved creators who didn't see a penny for their work until well into their 40s and 50s is surprisingly long. Stan Lee wasn't able to publish his first comic book until the age of 39. Marvel recently sold to Disney for $4 billion. Julia Child didn't write her first cookbook until she was 50. By 1961, she became the first female celebrity chef. If they'd given up when they weren't immediately rewarded, we wouldn't know their names today. Number 4. The best way to learn is by doing. Actually starting is always the hardest part of starting something new. Whether you're starting a business, a new job, or a new path in life, it's sometimes hard to get out of the planning stage. That's because the planning stage is comfortable. You can control every little detail and every little outcome. In your plans, things always work out exactly the way you want them to. There's only so much you can learn by planning though. Yoda understands this. His approach to teaching involves throwing his students into the deep end and letting them struggle. When Luke needs to get his ship to dry land, Yoda doesn't show him how to do it. He makes Luke realize that he already knows how to. Obviously, some planning is necessary. Don't let it stop your progress entirely, though. Number 5. It pays to help others succeed. Yoda is incredibly powerful. He has influence, skill, brains, everything he would need to form an empire of his own. That's not how he uses his power, though. Instead, he devotes his time to helping others succeed. That makes Yoda a great role model for anyone looking to find success at whatever they're doing. Sure, it's important to value yourself, but not above all else. If you do, you'll find yourself alone when you need people the most. All the best things in life aren't possible in isolation. You need a team for support, advice, friendship, workload, and most importantly, to achieve monumental common goals, like taking down an evil empire. But even on a smaller level, always remember that if you help people achieve their goals, no matter how small, they'll be much more likely to help you achieve yours. Number 6. You're in charge of your future. In all of his lessons with his students, Yoda makes one thing crystal clear. Your path, you must decide. These are words to live by. They're a great reminder that each of us is entirely responsible for our choices. Sure, things sometimes happen that are out of our control. We still get to decide how to respond. Luke, like his father Anakin, has a tendency to respond with anger when things don't go his way. To him, it probably never feels like a choice. Something bad happens and boom, his lightsaber is out. Yoda helps him realize that the way he reacts to a situation is always a choice. This doesn't mean you can always control your emotions. When bad things happen, you're probably going to feel a mixture of anger, sadness, fear, loneliness. Most of the time, these feelings are inevitable. What you need to realize is that these emotions can be completely separate from your actions. Great achievers do the right thing, even when they don't feel like it. It's usually easy to use negative emotions as excuses, or justification, or even as fuel. But that doesn't mean it's the best way to live. In fact, it usually just leads to bad decisions. Luke's father, Anakin, is a case study in allowing your emotions to overpower you. That's all for today's video. If you learned something from the greatest Jedi Master of all time, consider subscribing. Coach Stack releases a new video every weekday, so you don't want to miss out. See you next time.